What is up, sports bettors? It is Matt Modi with OddsJam, and in this video, I'm going to give you some FanDuel promo analysis. FanDuel has some awesome promos. This one I'm going to be talking about specifically is for the NFL and is on the Super Bowl win bonus promotion. So basically, all you need to do, the way it works, is you place a $50 bet on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, a $50 Super Bowl futures bet. And you get, you get $5 in free bets for every game that your team wins. But this is incredibly important. It's a really, really big but. The max bonus you can get is $50. So if your team wins above 10 games, the max you will get is $50. So when you're thinking about how to go about choosing a team, don't necessarily choose the team who you think is going to win the most games, because you only get value up to 10 games. So if your team wins 11, you don't get any more money than if they win 10. So that's something to keep in mind. Make sure you click opt-in. I already did, but the opt-in button is down here. Make sure you click that. And then it takes you to the betting market from here. So, well, there's a couple of things we can do in terms of choosing a team that we think is good for this bet. What we could do is right what I have up on the screen here is the odds to win the Super Bowl. So we could just choose the team with the best odds, which in this case would be the Buffalo Bills. We could just say, hey, you know what? The Bills are the most likely team to win the Super Bowl according to the betting markets. I'm just going to select them. That is certainly an option. Another thing we could do is if you go to FanDuel and you go to win totals and you scroll all the way down at the bottom, they actually give you the win total for every team. And we could just choose the team that has the highest win total, which in this case, again, unsurprisingly, would be the Buffalo Bills. They're tied with the Bucs with their win total over under at 11.5. But if you actually look at the odds themselves, the Bills are minus 135 to go over this 11.5 win total, whereas the Tampa Bay Bucs are at plus money to go over their win total. So basically the betting markets are telling you that there's a higher likelihood of the Bills going over their win total. So that's 2 marks in favor of the Bills. But another thing we could do is let's actually look at the value of all of these teams. Let's not just choose the highest likelihood to win the Super Bowl, which would be the Bills, or the team most likely to win the most games, which would be the Bills. Let's instead look at teams that are actually of value to win the Super Bowl. And in that case, we would be looking for teams that have the best odds specifically on FanDuel Sportsbook. And in this case, the Packers actually have huge value here to win the Super Bowl. The OddsJam line, which is the sharpest line in the world, prices their Super Bowl futures odds at plus 916. But all the other books, we can get that at plus 1200 on FanDuel. And all the other books, BetMGM and Caesars, are giving you plus 1200 as well. Basically saying that Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, thinks that the Packers are much more likely to win the Super Bowl than the odds we could get on FanDuel. That's another option. The Chargers would be a good bet, as well as would the Bengals. I think those are both, all 3 of them are good options. But for me, for my betting analysis, I actually love the value of the Chargers on this one. And I have a couple reasons why. So let's talk about the Chargers. Let's talk about the concerns first. Their division. They're in the AFC West, which is projected to be, which is going to be the best division in football this year. They have to play the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos a total of 6 times. So that's a concern. Concern number 2 with the Chargers, they might just be snake bitten. They had Phillip Rivers, who was a good quarterback for the longest time, really nothing to show for it. 2 years of Justin Herbert, no playoff appearances to show for it. They were close to making the playoffs last year. All they needed to do was tie the Raiders in that week 17 game, or I guess week 18 game, They lost in overtime, missed the playoffs. So those are the downsides. But let's talk about the upsides of the Chargers. So let's look at their DVOA, how they performed last year. So looking at offense, the Chargers had the 4th best offense in all of football. Top 4. Who do they have at quarterback? Justin Herbert. Let's look at Justin Herbert's stats of the first 2 years of his career. Year 1, and granted, he didn't even take the starting reps in the offseason of the entire offseason of his first year. That went to Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod had this weird thing where his lung got punctured before game 2. Next thing we know, Herbert starts, and he plays incredibly. Year 1, again, when he wasn't taking starter reps in the preseason, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Year 2, with a year under his belt, has all the starting reps, all that stuff. 38 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. That's really good. Over 5,000 yards. That's really good. Let's look at what Justin Herbert has in terms of skill positions. So let's start with the offensive line, because the offensive line is incredibly important. I like to look at PFF, their gradings for the offensive line. I think it's a good way to do it. And let's Control F, Chargers. The Chargers have the 12th best offensive line in the NFL. Now, that's obviously not top 10. It's closer to the top half, but more so in the middle. But for the Chargers, that's actually a step up. We remember them having a horrible offensive line pretty much the entirety of Philip Rivers' career, but they actually should be much better this year. I know they're ranked 12th, but they actually have potential to end above this number. Rashawn Slater, second-year left tackle, should only improve. Corey Linsley, a good center. The real problem with the Chargers' offensive line last year was the right side of their line, particularly the right tackle. Trey Pipkins started the year, struggled at the beginning of 2021, improved a lot at the end of the year. So I think that this actually could be a strength of the team for the Chargers. But regardless, even as things currently stand, 12th offensive line. If you want to look at PFF wide receiver rankings, let's see how PFF fares their wide receiver corps. I know they have Keenan Allen. I know they have Mike Williams. And they have two pretty good third and fourth string receivers in Jalen Guyton and Josh Palmer. Gives them the 9th best set of receivers in the NFL. So top 12 offensive line, top 10 wide receivers. Let's look at Austin Eckler, their running back. Austin Eckler stats. 911 rushing yards, 647 receiving yards, 20 total touchdowns. So they have a really good top 5, top 3 potential quarterback in Justin Herbert, a top 12 offensive line, top 10 receivers, and an elite running back. Check, 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 check on offense. Defensively is where we might have some concerns for the Chargers. Let's look at their defensive DVOA last year, all the way down at 26th. That's not ideal, admittedly. But they have a defensive-minded head coach, and they brought in some pretty good pieces in the offseason. They signed J.C. Jackson, who's currently on the mend, nursing a minor ankle surgery, but it's not supposed to be serious. And, of course, they traded for Khalil Mack. They also have some improved defensive linemen outside of Khalil Mack. So while this defense finished 26th last year, my guess is that they'll finish in the top half, even if it's closer to top 16 than it is top 10 this year. I think they'll have a significantly better defense. So all in all, while the Chargers is a little bit scary considering their division and considering they just seem to be snake bitten in terms of their history, they are my official pick for this bet. I think that they will win 10 games with as good as Justin Herbert and as good as the offense is around him. I think they could legitimately have the number 1 offense in the entire NFL. And there is a value when you look at the OddsJam odds, when you compare all of the futures odds on oddsjam.com. The Pinnacle line, the OddsJam line, sharpest line in the world, prices them at about just under 1,300. We can get them at 1,400 on FanDuel, and that is what I will be going with. So $50 on the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. If they do, I'll get a nice $700. That would be very nice. And that's going to be it. So let me know what you think of my analysis and what you think of my pick. Let me know if you disagree with me, who you are choosing. Let me know in the comments. Other than that, I would appreciate a like. Again, comment, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, all that good stuff. But that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching, and have a good one.